Okay, well, hello everybody. Welcome to Tom's Guitar Show. I'm Tom. They call me Guitar Tom because I'm often seen with a guitar, and they call me on the phone and they ask me, they say, "Hey man, what's your show about?" I say, "Oh, it's about an hour. It's about guitar players, guitar playing, all things guitaristic." Sorry, this thing's bothering me. It's kind of in the shot and everything. And here we go. Huh? Okay. They say you're not supposed to look at your monitor, but if I didn't look at my monitor, I wouldn't know that thing's hanging out there, the little strap. Anyway, where was I? Oh, yeah. So here's my show about guitars, guitar playing, and guitar players, and all things guitaristic. So if you want to call, there will be a number on your screen occasionally, and you can call that number and ask me a question about the care and feeding of your guitar, how to play the guitar, what kind of guitar is right for you, a related topic, the guitarrón, the sitar, the chitarra, chitole, lutes, ouds, vihuelas, banjos, balalaikas, bajos, sextos, and bazookies, clavinets and clarinets and ukuleles and banjolales and banjolins and bandoras and bandolims. Have I said cavaquinos already? I can't remember. I say that stuff every week. It's been 20 years. I've been doing this. Okay. Pipe organs, piccolos, clarinets, clavinets, clavinovas, oboes, ocarinas, accordions, harmoniums, harmonicas, or harpsichords. Anything you make music on, trombones or trombomarinas. Or we could talk about politics, world events, your own personality problems. That's fine, we're here for you, but keep it clean. This is a family program. Anyway, so a week ago, this last weekend, I got snowed out this weekend, by the way. My gigs all got snowed out, so I didn't make any cash, and I didn't play anywhere Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I just sat at home and practiced. But what I practiced was more jazz guitar because I've been having people want me to play jazz standards. And I know, 8 or 10 or 12 standards. But I thought I should know like another 20 or so more. I mean, if I knew like 30 standards, that'd probably be pretty good sampling. So I've been working on that. And then, of course, I had like 8 or so hollow body guitars. 8 or 10, I don't know. But that didn't stop me from getting this one. This is I just bought this one, the pawn shop. Somebody else's broken dream. Took it home, cleaned it up, and restrung it. It's an Epiphone. Sheraton 2. Basically like a Gibson ES-335, but it's a kind of top-of-the-line Epiphone, made in Asia, which makes me think that someday I'm going to have to get the Heritage, made in Kalamazoo, Michigan, where they used to make the Gibsons. But the guy said they'll build one for you. It costs about $2,000, $2,300 or something like that. And I thought, be a better guitar than this, but this isn't bad. And I actually got this one paid off right away. So anyway, it wasn't that much. It's used. It's not beat up. It's somebody else's broken dream, but now it's mine. So I thought, I want to play more hollow bodies. I've been doing a lot of, nylon string stuff lately, and classical and flamenco and bossa nova. But let's make a little loop. Anyway, that was what I did. That was a bit of fun. I've been fooling around with my hollow bodies. And, you know, the thing I tell people from other parts of the country, you know, because I spent some time in New York, and I spent quite a bit of time in California. And I was on the road quite a bit, you know, and I was in Europe, too, but they don't know where Iowa is in Europe. They actually don't know where Iowa is in California, for that matter. But, so, you know, I tell, you know, people, you know, I wonder, well, how come you know, like, how come you know how to, like, play the, like this, like, you know, kind of classical guitar stuff and the kind of like the Latin jazz stuff and all that. Why do you know how to do that, you know, if you're from Iowa? Because, of course, you know, the indigenous music of Iowa is not country western. That's southern music, you know. Iowa's more Lawrence Welk, if you ever watched Lawrence Welk. But, so I tell people the reason I can do this stuff, I learned how to do this stuff is not because I grew up someplace that had tradition of it. It's because I grew up a place with no traditions and nothing much to do except your homework. A lot of time on your hands, so you can sit there and nerdily, if that's a nerdily, is that a proper word? Yes. Is it? Okay, it is now, isn't it? You know, you just pursue your thing. So like today I was teaching up there at the college and I had these great big breaks in between lessons and stuff, and then one guy didn't show up. So I had a block of 2 hours with nobody there, and I had my little room that they put me in. It's got my name on the door. I share it with a viola teacher so you can see how highly they value guitar at Co. But if you know the viola jokes, but anyway, so I had 2 hours, but I wisely packed a bunch of music I'm working on, the jazz standards. And I sat there and I just, you know, worked on memorizing songs, mostly from the 30s, the 20s, and the 60s, 1960s. So I was doing like a... Oops, sorry. Well... I've forgotten. All right. Well, anyway, so having gotten over all the preliminaries, I do have a guest. If you'd like to come up with Nancy, they have things to talk about here. So I'll get you on. Get your microphone on and get her on camera somehow.
Get me dressed.
Yeah, get you mic'd up, laved up. Yeah. So there, there you are. Yeah. So So we were talking about this on the phone, and I wanted you to come on my show so you can tell everybody else. Because people actually watch this show. It's kind of hard to believe.
I hope so.
Yeah,
Because it's good stuff.
Some of them do. I don't know. It's just about guitars, guitar players, and all things guitaristic.
Right.
And
You know I'm a
occasionally-
bass player. I'm not sure I laid that on you.
I do bring a bass on. I haven't been playing bass. I just started when I was 12, so it hasn't been. And there's the orchestra and the jazz band at
Right.
junior high.
Right.
So
right.
I haven't. I came to it late in life, but and banjos and ukuleles and mandolins. But
It was really late because I started when I was 10
really bass.
on string bass stand up.
Really good for you. Did you play in the orchestra and the jazz band and all that stuff? Or?
I didn't do jazz. I did everything but jazz all the way along.
Okay.
I don't claim to be that good, but I've had a lot of fun. I've been in Beatle bands, country bands, all sorts of classic rock. Right now I'm in a klezmer band.
Really, I've been playing klezmer stuff with. I got this mandolin student. He's been on the show quite a bit, but we've been doing klezmer stuff.
I've got to connect up with it here. I haven't found it yet, but I know it's going on. I do enjoy it.
Well, there are people around the edges who do this. I guess mandolin player who's interested in it, but it's not really a klezmer instrument. I suppose you can make it so.
We use them.
Yeah.
We have an octave mandolin.
Yeah.
I've got, if we can,
Yeah,
I'm going to be sitting on the amp.
Yeah, well, there you are. I don't know. We're trying to figure out where you don't need the lav mic. So anyway, tell us about yourself and what we're here to talk about. So.
Myself would take a whole show, but I've been a musician for a long time, and I've been presenting music for 20 years, mostly in Chicago. And I just up and met somebody on the internet and married him, and he's from Mount Vernon, and he's a professor. So I'm slowly moving here, selling a house that I had in Chicago, and with my feet in both places at the moment. But during my time there, I created a house concert series. I had 85 house concerts in my home for 10 years, and people like George Winston and Chad and Jeremy and all sorts of people you probably also know, because a lot of them were from Iowa. And then I presented a folk series at Bill's Blues in Evanston, Illinois for about 7 years, and I created a festival called Lil Fest, ran it in 3 locations for 5 years. I now present artists to the industry, and that's a really short version of what I do. There's some other chapters, like where we first met. But because I want to talk about Folk Alliance, which is what has caused me to be here at this point.
We're all really interested in the Folk Alliance, I'll tell you. At least I am.
Yeah, the Folk Alliance is an international organization based now in Kansas City, which networks artists and people in the music industry at an extraordinary convention called Folk Alliance. And among the things that happen there is an evening of music, say from about 10:30 to 3 a.m. in all 3 floors of a hotel with different music in every room. So lots and lots of artists are playing. People run up and down the hall if they're radio shows or folk festivals or a series or house concerts. All sorts of people who have music in their lives in a way that they present come to Folk Alliance. Then there are regionals. And this is where Iowa City comes in, because we are, for the first time, the home of our regional convention for Folk Alliance Regional Midwest, better known as FARM. A little dangerous in Iowa to say you're from the farm, but I'm from FARM.
There's a lot of that going around here, so go ahead.
I know, there's so much farm, it's a little ever present. So Folk Alliance Regional Midwest was enticed here partly by the wonderful hotel, by the convention people, and by our own interest in the fact that the university's here. A lot of people knew about Iowa City. So we are going to be here for the next 3 years, and my secret hope is that we could just talk them into staying forever. But that may or may not happen, but we're celebrating and welcoming FARM to Iowa at an event next Sunday. Not this Sunday, the day after Valentine's Day.
The 15th of February.
The 15th of February at the Mill. It's a little bit out of my music festival kind of fun. It's an all day of music, starting at 1 o'clock and ending at 10 at night. And there is a price. It is under 2 figures. It's going to be more music than you'll ever pay for that little for. Yeah. So we have artists of all sorts coming.
And they sell pizza there too, just in case you...
They sell great food and great beverages. Now I'm going to read you some artist names because I can't even remember them, even though I presented it and I'm putting it together with my partner Smitty Smith from Ohio. But I wanted to tell about some of the artists, if that's okay with you.
Sure, go ahead.
Nathan Bell, who is born and raised here.
Yeah, I haven't seen him in a long time.
Yep, and he is the son of Marvin Bell, who was Iowa's first poet laureate. So at the convention, we're going to be talking about the relationship between lyrics and the relationship between poetry and lyrics. I hope very much that's one of the programs I have in mind. So we have not only music but poetry by Nathan as part of the program on Sunday. Jenny Bieneman. Jenny Bieneman is from Chicago, and she is absolutely a joy. Sometimes she performs with her husband. She writes whimsical, funny, heartfelt, tearful, wonderful songs, and with a real sense of drama. She has a professional career in drama, so she's a lot of fun to watch and always surprising. There's one person who I'm sure you've never heard of, whose name is Greg Brown. I probably don't have to introduce him to Iowa City, but Greg's coming and being part of it. And he is also going to be part of our convention in October. Carrie Patrick Clark from Ohio. He bills himself as the Norman Rockwell of singer-songwriters. Incredible blue eyes, very enticing and great storyteller. Rick Drost from Boston, a former member of the Yale Glee Club, and has moved into the folk tradition wholeheartedly, writes exquisite poetic songs, and while he performs some, more often they're picked up by other people. It's a very interesting guy. So he's coming out from Boston. Iowa's own Chad Elliott, I bet you know him. I think of him as an Americana folk artist. I've presented him in my showcases. I'm really glad he's coming to be with us. A name you might want to Google, Carl Franzen. Carl Franzen is from Minneapolis. He has a couple hits under his belt. He's often performing in small festivals and places all over the place. But when he hit my open mic in Chicago, my man at the dials, the sound guy, nearly keeled over that Carl Franzen was in his place. Carl's pretty amazing. And he's down here too often. So Spook Handy. Spook Handy does some of the most traditional singer-songwriter and also performing in the old folk songs, the traditional folk songs, and lots of different things. So we have, I'm trying in this group to have a little bit of everything. All the kinds of artists that are available at Farm presenting to the industry are in this little mini festival, just one time probably, because we're only going to be welcoming everybody to Iowa just once. After that, Laura Joy, another young, very young singer-songwriter from Chicago. If you think folk is a certain thing, I can tell you Laura Joy's will be more like indie pop rock than you expect folk to be. So the descriptions of the kind of music that we present at Farm is much broader than just the first way you might think of the word folk. Another famous name from Iowa City, Radislav Lorkovich, is playing.
Yes. Steve Foltz. So we went to high school together, you know.
Yeah, I know.
We hung out you probably heard stories. Yeah.
I heard stories, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I can tell
You'd be glad to know how many stories I heard long before I ever met you. So watch out.
Yeah, all right. Well, I haven't seen him for a while either. So.
Am I off mic? No, I'm not. All right,
okay,
guess I can't.
I'll reminisce. Okay, go ahead.
So anyway, Radoslav is playing. He'll be here in the middle of the afternoon near Dave Moore's slot, because I've heard them together many times and I'm hoping they'll kind of overlap each other. But if you know Radoslav, it'll come out of the spirit and we'll see what happens and it'll be wonderful. Chuck Mitchell. Somebody wrote, I was talking about Chuck Mitchell and somebody said, oh, the Chuck Mitchell. Well, he gave that certain other artist named Joni her last name, Mitchell. Oh, yeah. So people know him maybe partly for that.
I didn't know he was alive anymore.
Oh yeah, he's in Keokuk.
In Keokuk?
Yeah, he's in Keokuk.
Well, good for him.
Chuck is wonderful and a very good artist, and it's fun, and he's a regular at Farm, so a lot of people have interest in him in a lot of different levels. It's fun, and he's very genial and fun to talk to. Slewgrass, a wonderful Iowa City band that I think everybody here knows better than I do. David G. Smith, another Iowa artist who lives, I think he's from Cascade and lives in Bluegrass. Do you know Chuck? Do you know him?
Maybe.
David plays blues a lot of the time.
I think I might have run into him, but I don't,
He has 1 foot in Nashville, 1 foot in Iowa, and he's touring all the time. He's just been in a big world tour, a world tour of America, but a very large and broad tour. Lyle Strickland, an adorable young man. Did I say that? All right. From Missouri. He also raises grass-fed beef, but he has a fabulous voice, a fabulous presence on stage, and is a singer-songwriter who's really up and coming in the folk area. And then Emily White, who is a Chicago singer-songwriter, young woman in her 20s, doing really well. I know a lot of friends who go to songwriting circles and songwriting camps and things like that, and everybody says, "Oh, Emily White." So we're going to hear her too. There are actually a few missing from that list, but it's going to be an amazing day. And you just come and you can have your lunch and you can have your dinner and you can have a few drinks and you can wander around and we'll all just be hanging there. I wanted very much to have an open mic, but they said it really wasn't possible to have programming in the bar restaurant at the same time. So the open mic will come another time. Mm-hmm. But the truth is, if you think you're a performer who's ready to be, on the stage with 2 full sets or 3, ready to be enjoyed by people, you might well want to come to Farm and start networking for yourself. That's a lot of what happens.
I'll be there. I just joined yesterday.
Thank you.
Yeah, so, I did. I joined yesterday, and I'll be there. Maybe I'll have a
Am I going to showcase you next week?
If you...
You'd have to go to Kansas City for that.
Oh, yeah. I don't know, maybe.
It seems unlikely. You probably have a few people to teach, but if you do,
let me know. But I don't care about them so much. I don't know. I would like to. I'd like to showcase. Yeah, I haven't done that for a long time. I did this whole thing with having the kid and hanging around, and I play like house gigs. Play the same place every week.
Oh, wonderful! I mean, that's very good work.
The people come to hear me. But,
and you can hear it in how you play and what you play. I mean, There's music that's so professional, I just call myself a writer on it, and I feel it the minute I hear it. It's fabulous to listen to you.
Well, I'm well rehearsed, though.
Well, yeah, but, and it's amazing the difference it makes. I've been deeply involved in the Old Town School of Folk Music in Chicago as a student. In fact, they turned me from being a string bass player into a bass guitarist.
Sure, so much handier to carry around with you. Maybe it's like the amps can be, but you can put those on wheels. But I have both the string bass and the bass guitar. Actually, I have a couple of each, but the bass guitar is so much more handy to have. And
as a 5'6" female, I can tell you, I carried that string bass up and down the Florida coast when I was in my 20s. I've always owned a car that could hold a string bass. I did my best to do it, and I just frankly got a little tired of it. When I was in the bluegrass band. When I was in the bluegrass band, I was given a half-scale bass at the end of a gig. You should have this. I said, okay, fine, thank you. And I intend, if I'm ever in bluegrass again, I'm going to play the 50% scale bass instead. Because it's about as tall as I am. It'd be easy to handle.
Yeah.
But when I switched to the bass guitar, the main thing is it's in parts. So I tend not to use the kind of amp that's this high with a head on top because I can't move it. But I have something called the Portaflex. You know the Portaflexes?
I've seen them, yeah.
They're tube amps. And the top with the tubes and all the machinery comes off, and then you have the cabinet with the 12 or 15-inch round speaker, and then they're in 2 parts, and Nancy can carry it.
Well, that's nice. I don't actually, I never play very loud, and I've never had to, I actually don't have I just have a little practice amp, bass amp, and I have a couple of big keyboard amps, like there's an old PV KB300, which is pretty heavy. It's like 90 pounds or something, but
I don't move them.
But it has a 15-inch speaker and a horn. And it makes a good bass amp. And I've got a Roland KB550 keyboard amp, which is pretty big. And other than that, I just have a little practice amp. But usually, and I had a Trace Elliott little amp, a boxer, and it was just a little bit. But see, the thing is, I have a pickup on my string bass, and then I play bass guitar. But I don't. I don't rock on the. I don't like. Nobody ever hires me to rock. I'm always like in a
to pedal.
So thump thump thump. So
Push
you feel all your innards like sloshing around. And I don't. Just never get that gig. I'm always like,
pushing air.
Yeah.
It's fun to do. I will say that. I don't do it very often. And I don't do it from one of the big boxes unless somebody. If it's there on the back of the stage when I get there, okay, I use it.
Yeah.
But. No, I have a system that really works for me. It took a while to figure it out.
Nowadays it's direct out anyway, and you plug it into the PA, and you don't have to have such a big thing. But that big thumping bass. I had a bigger bass amp a long time ago, but no. And like I just play a little. Yeah, it doesn't have to be that loud necessarily. If you but
Yeah, no, I'm almost never loud. I mean, I am. If I had my chance, I'd be on the bandwagon against really, truly loud music. I can't tell you how many times we've played at a party in the klezmer band, and people have said, it's too loud, we want to talk to each other. And I'm always the one saying, got to tone it down, everybody can hear it.
Yeah, well, I'm told to tone it down quite a bit. play my gigs through very small amps.
Yeah.
In fact, a little Super Champ, this 15-watt Fender amp here is tube amp is
15, that's nice.
yeah, it's too big for most of the gigs I play. Mm-hmm. And I just play with little tiny practice amps, and I dial them up so they're nice and smooth. This is kind of like this isn't tuned up very loud, you know. I mean, it's like, I'm at 3.
That's
or
wonderful.
Not quite 3. And that's
Well,
like,
that really puts out, I think. You can tell
Yeah.
that hollow body.
yeah, I have a collection of hollow bodies, and I know my wife never watches this show, so I can tell you, I've been selling them back to the guitar shop, and I've ordered 2 more hollow body guitars.
Good for you.
And they're not very expensive ones, but I mean they're not like cheap, you know. But they're a big fat jazz box with one double the humbucker at the
Right,
neck,
right.
big fat one, and I have the same one only with 3 P90 pickups on it. So this is one big jazz box, big blonde jazz box. The other one is has 2 humbuckers like this, but it has the acoustic pickup on the bridge, and so it's a toggle switch, so it's supposed to sound like an acoustic electric guitar,
Right.
too, and then you can blend them all together.
Wow.
So I'm going to play with those for a while, you see. And,
I've had quite a few instruments. We should probably talk off mic about
oh, no, I know.
I went through a period where I just go into music stores and they would talk to me and they'd go home with me.
Yeah.
Some of them were pretty fantastic.
Yeah.
I just put up, I put one up for sale at George Gruen, which is
Oh, no.
a lot of fun.
I don't want to, I've never been there, I'm not going to go. But there's a friend, I'm not going to mention his name. I think he has a master's degree in political science, but he's one of our leading alcoholics in the community. And he said he's got 3 ways to stay out of trouble. Don't go in the bar, don't go in the bar, and don't go in the bar. So I frequent the little local music store, and then the one in West Music in Coralville, but also Musicians Pro Shop a lot. I go there like every week,
Right.
maybe more than once, and I maybe buy something, trade. Let's me play things off slowly, and and I get tips, for my gigs. And
Right.
So I've amassed this collection,
Yeah.
and not just to hang on the wall or be, these are all things that are not extremely. I mean, I have a couple things that are, extremely, rare.
Right.
That like classical guitars. I have
Yes.
two classical guitars that are extremely rare. But everything else is just like production stuff, that's good,
Right.
but not, like this was played by so and so. It's worth more than your house. It's not nothing like that. But I mash these things, and I just want these different sounds. You see, so
Right.
this is fine. This is great.
Right.
This is what I wanted. And I have 2 more ES-335 copies from Asia, but this is by far the best one. And I have another one which is fun to play. I really like it, sweet little one. And then I have another one that I'm probably going to sell so I can have money for something else. So,
I find when I buy instruments, I often do it by the feel. I mean, body feel, by the vibration. There's something that speaks to me literally, and then I'm gone. I have to have it.
well, I have a Stratocaster fetish, and the thing I like about the American ones and a lot of the Mexican ones is that the whole thing is alive in your hands. You can
Yes.
feel it under your thumb, zinging all the way up and down. And then so it has this sort of resonance. And you get another Strat, or another copy of a Strat, and it's kind of dead. It still has pickups on it. People say, well, it doesn't matter what it's made out of. You can make out of particle board or plastic. I say, yeah, I don't think that's
I don't
true.
buy it.
Swamp ash or alder, you got it.
Adirondack maple somewhere in it.
Yeah. They're making these special edition ones. One was made out of redwood that was in a public works
Oh, what fun.
from a bridge that
Right.
they built out west during the Roosevelt administration. And it was so they tore down this bridge, and it was like this old, of course, old growth. What else would it be? Redwood.
Right.
So there's that. And another one was a barn. It was a kind of pine that the original Telecasters are made out of, or the broadcasters or whatever.
Right.
And and it was a barn that was in Michigan, and it was pre-Civil War.
Wow.
They tore down. So they took some of the boards out of that, and they made these special edition Stratocasters for a lot of money when I don't have one.
Right.
But it's interesting. You say,
It's very interesting.
yeah. And my first love is classical guitars, and so you
Right.
have these Alpine spruce. The one guitar that I have. I'm talking guitars I should probably just play, but the one concert classical guitar that I got in '83, and I've been playing a lot,
Right.
and I played all these in a room with no amplification,
Right.
big like concert hall or a church or something like that. But that one, the guy went to Spain after After Franco died or whenever, or after, when things are opening up, they found some sort of locker where some old geezer would turn the wood over periodically. It's been aging. So the neck is a Cuban mahogany, and then they cut down all the Cuban mahogany trees,
Eons
by
ago,
19, like
right,
1900.
right.
So these were old, and it was just like, and of course it's straight as an arrow. It's been since 1983. And then a really nice ebony fingerboard. The top is an alpine spruce with these burl marks in it. That was like at least 60, 80 years old. And the back and sides are this Brazilian rosewood, which I'm afraid to take out of the country. So
You should be.
So they let it back in again. So I have this guitar, these wonderful woods of this guy who was a maniac. And when his arthritis made it so he couldn't build them anymore, he put a gun in his mouth and shot himself.
Right.
He's an old military guy. When he retired from the military, he went into building classical guitars. And Robert Mattingly, just an amazing instrument, just fills a room. It doesn't even sound good in a small room. It needs some space.
Needs space, yeah.
So,
like a bass.
yeah. So anyway, yeah. That's, I don't know, but...
You going to play for a while?
I will play for now.
Okay. I'm going to sit and listen.
Yeah,
right over
thanks
here.
for being up there. I'll say, so Sunday the 15th, at the Mill, 1 o'clock till 8 o'clock.
1 o'clock till 10 o'clock.
Right, well, yeah, 1 o'clock till 10 o'clock. All kinds of great music. I don't know. I probably shouldn't bring a guitar along, though, you think?
You never know what will happen. You could call me even the day before, and I could tell you if anybody dropped out or something happened. I should throw some websites out there.
Okay, yeah.
Because that would be very good for people.
Okay.
The first one would be www, and we'll skip that on all the other ones,
Yeah.
farmfolk.org, and that is the farm website, Folk Alliance Regional Midwest. And on there is a SoundCloud with all the artists who have already sent me their MP3s, and when the rest of them get them to me, they'll all be there. But at any rate, we have 7 or 8 MP3s by the people who are playing a week from Sunday. So that's a lot of fun to go to because you can hear full songs and get a sense of what it's going to be like. Then you want folk.org. That's an easy one to remember. That's the Folk Alliance, the National Folk Alliance itself. And then there are really 2 presenters here. One, My Lil Fest. That's been my brand name for my festival and all my house concerts, and Lilfest. That's not for what you think it is, but it's for, her name was McGill. She called herself Lil, but everyone knew her as Nancy, right? So Lilfest is, when I started my festival, I had a radio friend who said to me, well, you got to call it Nancy Palooza. And I'm going, not on your life. I'm not going to do that. So in the long run, Lilfest popped in because all my Beatle friends call me Lil. So lilfest.com or .org, they all go to the same place. That's my website, and it shows you some of the showcasing and some of the history of what I've done in the past. And the third one would be it's Smitty Smith, who presents his concerts in Ohio. It's not coming to me. I hope Smitty's not watching. But he is also the presenter, although I'm the one here doing all the work. It's a team. The region includes Ohio and all these other states. It's called PumpHouseConcerts.com, and he has this cool pump house in the center of Lansing, East Lansing, Michigan, and it's his concert series. So 3 great websites. And then there's all the websites for all those artists I named, which anyone might well like to investigate and learn about.
Well, if you could find one, like a folk.org or whatever, you probably work your way through.
You can find a lot of these people, and everybody should look at Radislav Lorkovich, because what he's been doing for all these years is pretty fascinating.
He's a maniac.
He is a maniac.
I should look into his stuff. I'm looking forward to seeing him again. It's been a while.
And all these people have Facebooks.
I always cuss him out in Italian because he
could do it.
Because he knows what I mean.
Absolutely, he does. I toured Italy with him. I've been there, done that. Yes.
He knows it. Yeah. This is the guy who knows the meaning of the word schifoso.
Well, I don't.
Well, good.
Save me.
Yeah.
Oh no. All right.
Okay. Well,
go to it. I'm here to listen.
I'll do something nice. I'm going to do
I'll be your audience.
Okay. Well, I'm an audience of one. I'm just going to do tango in C sharp minor. But why not? I mean, that's for you folks back home. That's 4 sharps if you want to play along. But relative minor of E, big deal. So 1, 2, buckle my shoe. Well, I think I should mention that as I keep going on in this show, I got a job a few years ago teaching guitar at Coe College up in Cedar Rapids. And last week's show was devoted to a lot of this, the coffee house show we did last week here. But there's a faculty recital this Friday at 7:30, and I'm playing at it, and I will be subversive, to say the least. I'm going to be very bad, very naughty boy. I'm going to, and I can give it away because I don't think anybody up there watches the show. So I'm going to start out with a small-bodied classical guitar, and I'm going to play probably a bossa nova. And I just gave it like a number, you know. I'll just play whatever I feel like, bossa nova. And then to make things worse, I'm going to have a stagehand bring me out a banjo, and I'm going to loop with it. But first I'm going to tune for a while and make banjo player jokes, you see. And then just sort of like a... I can't really play banjo on a jazz guitar, but you get the idea. This sort of bluegrassy kind of stuff. And I was actually listening to some Lester Flatt and Earl Scruggs earlier today, before I went to work up there at Coe. And just because I really enjoy that, but I don't... and I know you know... Well, I didn't actually start playing banjo until I was 16, so it was pretty late in life to start. But I'd had 3 years of classical guitar by that time, and anyway, and I'd been playing mandolin for half my life, so I've been playing the violin for 10 years. Anyway, never mind. So I'm going to do something completely different after I get tuned up and stuff like that. So I'm going to play this thing with a lot of tremolo, and it'll sound more like some sort of Eastern European folk music. It'll be original material, and then. Just to ruin everything from then, you see, I'm going to have a stagehand, possibly the same one, bring me hurts, doesn't it? Never mind. My Lamborghini Yellow Flying V, DBZ Flying V guitar, which has 2 nice big humbucking pickups on it that actually makes a great jazz guitar. But while I'm tuning that one up, I'll do a little bit of the... what do you expect, like a... You know, and then I'll launch into some sort of like... You know, do this big kind of spacey thing that might loosely qualify as jazz. And then I'll do my 3 songs, and then I'll look at my shoes. That's what you do. You say, they're my shoes. But you don't say that out loud, so they don't know. Because, well, if you're Japanese, you know how to do that bowing thing really well. But like around here, we don't really do it. You know, I mean, do you ever bow, man? Really? Not really. I think if you did, I would be surprised. But hey, look, hey, they're my shoes. If they're still clapping, which they might not be after the banjo and the Lamborghini Yellow Flying V, I say, there's my shoes again. And then I'll walk off the stage. And then maybe they have cookies and punch in this classroom off to the side of where the recital hall is up there at Coe. And maybe my boss will sidle up to me and say, maybe you should start looking at your options elsewhere. Kirkwood, it's only a 2-year college, and maybe, anyway. So that's my plan. Trying to get fired, because I really don't like that commute. I was up to 380, and I was up there today, looking at all those cars in the ditch, saying, but who knows? But I'm always, the big thing that I worry about is being boring. And novelty is the spice of life. Hang on a second. I was getting a really good sound out of this hollow body here. And, and just because things are going so well, I got to change it again. So let's see. No. Sorry.
You can always hand it to me.
Well, it should be okay. Rather undependable looking guitar stand there. But anyway, So, yeah, try this one. So, I would say I was in remission for guitar acquisition for a while, and then I went back to it again. So this is, I've had this in the show a couple times, this dark blue Stratocaster. It's a Mexican Strat, and I didn't used to, I have my American Strat, but I didn't used to really care for the Mexican ones, but then I started playing some of them. They're really nice. And this one's really nice. This is their top of the line. It's called the Players Strat. I got it used from a guitar shop, not from the pawn shop. I got another one from the Mexican one from the pawn shop, though, like a week after I got this one. This is a while ago, not very long ago. I got the two Strats. And it looks a little purple in my monitor here, but it's really very dark blue. What is it? It's not sapphire. What's the blue, dark blue gem?
Indigo.
Yeah, but there's a gem.
Sapphire.
Sapphire? Maybe it's sapphire. Yeah, maybe it's sapphire blue. Anyway, that always make it sound like something nice. It is nice. It's a Stratocaster. So, the middle pickup. Some people never use the middle pickup. That's why I want to use it, because I feel sorry for it. They just use it to mix with the other pickups. I ran out of frets. I don't want to go through my life without Stratocasters. And I have plural. I have, well, quite honestly, I have 6. And they're all different. But I had 7, but I sold the gold one. The only reason I got it was because it's gold. It's Chinese. And it looked really cool. And it made a great prop, the golden guitar. But I couldn't stand to play it. So I sold it. And it'd be fine for somebody else. I didn't sell it for very much, and probably they're not going to sell it for very much at the guitar shop. So that brings me down to 6. And among my 6, one's made in California, one's made in Canada, and it's from the Godin company. It was called the Snow. It's from 1985. It's an ebony fingerboard. It's really cool. And it's candy apple red with a little metal flake to it. Made in Canada by a Québécois. Parlez français avec l'accent québécois. And then they got the Mexican one, and a Mexican one, and they got 3 Mexican ones. 3 Mexican, yes. U.S., Canada, Mexico. What's the 6th one? Oh, yeah, that's another. I have another Mexican one. Yeah, I have that. I keep forgetting, a little brown one. It's very nice. It's just a very sweet little, nothing spectacular. That's right. I've got that one. I got this one from Mexico. I got the one I got at the pawn shop. I got the one that somebody refinished in a very strange way because they gouged it all up and they sanded it down so it has a natural wood and then it has a dark red. So, okay, so I have 4 Mexican ones, 1 U.S. and 1 Canada. That makes 6. Okay. And I go down my Telecaster selections, and then of course there are my classical guitars and my acoustic steel string guitars, and my 12-string guitars, Taylor and Guild. I don't know, man. And basses. I just sold a Mexican bass. I've got 2 Fender Jazz basses, both made in California, both special editions. Love them both. One has frets and one does not. See, the thing about the frets is that, like, I got it. It's over. I'm sorry. I oh, I got 3 minutes? Okay, well, I can tell you about the frets. I don't need the frets on the guitar, bass guitar, because I don't drink. And around about third set, you need frets, if you drink. But me, a little caffeine. Okay, anyway. Well, I'm a little out of tune. But that'll make the Tom's Guitar Show theme a little bit more authentic. So I'll be back next week. I'm back every week. Thank Nancy for coming down. And Armand for working the camera for us.